There's less people actually using dating apps globally today than there were a few years ago.
You are actually like totally my type.
I think what lacked in most of those situations was like that special feeling.
When you sign up for Disney's terms and conditions on Disney Plus, you're signing your life away.
Did you know that OnlyFans creators made more than every single NBA player combined last year?
Welcome back to another episode of Just Alex. It's the final countdown before Harrison and I are officially parents.
1 week away.
Less than.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a couple days. You guys, we just went and toured the hospital. And the most fascinating part about touring the hospital was the level of security that they put on these babies once they're born. They tag them 3 times. They put something around their wrist, something around their ankle, and then a magnet on them. And if they get too close to any door, then the alarm goes off. All the doors in the hospital lock and the elevators stop working because people steal babies. No one's stealing my baby. They said now it's up to the parents if the baby gets a bath at any point. The first bath can be at home. I think I'm going to let our baby get a bath, but Dad's going to go with them to wash the baby and watch it.
Will they let me give it the bath?
I don't know.
Just get back there, backstage?
I think you should watch for the first time. Have you ever changed a diaper?
No. When would I have ever changed a diaper?
You have a niece, so that could be the time.
No. My niece and I, we're close. We don't have that relationship.
So, I was thinking about it today. I was like, man, I mean, I think I've changed a diaper, but it will be full-blown baptism by fire. But this episode's not about that, actually. It's just, we just want to do like a little baby update off the top because what's going to come out next week is a really sweet baby episode. Very baby heavy, like how we're feeling right before we have the baby.
Well, yeah, I think the idea with it is on Sunday night before you go in to get induced Monday morning, we'll sit down and we'll reflect on the past 9 months and what we expect ahead from baby perspective.
Yeah. So that will be that episode. This episode is kind of like we have really fun topics about dating because we've been talking so much about dating apps and things on here. Some scams. You ready to talk about them all? Okay, so there's one thing we got to discuss. And I let it go last episode. But then you said it IRL, in real life. And it's how do you pronounce LMAO?
LMAO.
Yeah, and you're dead serious? Because it's LMAO, like laugh my ass off.
It's LMAO.
So you said it last episode. You were like, yeah, LMAO. And I was like, oh, that's like an inside joke that I don't really know. But then I was like in the middle of something pretty serious. And I was like I was showing you a message. And it said LMAO. And you said, yeah, LMAO's a good response right there. And I thought to myself, what?
So I've never been a LMAO user.
No, it's...
I've never been a LMAO user, but our group chat, the one I referenced last week, is very LMAO heavy. I'm a lol guy. Okay.
LOL.
No, I'm a lol guy. And they like, the joke had always been like, could you ever get LMAO out of me? And they'd always say it, Jay and Pietro. Pietro's like the number one advocate of LMAOing. And I think I had my first one probably 18 months ago.
Where you said LMAO?
Where I LMAO'd. In the chat, not, and.
In the chat, do you type LMAO?
Yeah.
Not LMAO. LAW, MAO.
But then I asked them about it after you called me on it. And I was like, when you're saying, we say LMAO. We're a LMAO group.
So in conversation, well, I don't ever say LMAO in conversation. Sometimes I do in conversation about LMAO, but you'll say LMAO?
Who started I think when we were talking about this whole concept of lol versus LMAO and who says what. Yeah, that's where it all would have came up. But like when this is discussed, I know that LMAO is said. And not just by me. And I was a follower on it.
Who started it?
It would have been, I assume Pietro, if not Jay. Not Justin.
I've never heard it. LOL, people say are like lols. Lol. Lol's a thing. A slight thing.
I think it's a great word.
LMAO has not made it mainstream. Because here's the thing. It's LMAO. There's no LA. It's not la. It's LMAO. LMAO. And you're dead serious. You said it dead serious. As serious as a heart attack. LMAO.
Good word.
Okay, LMAO. Okay, so we're LMAO. I kind of think it's a thing though. Like, so I read LMAO earlier, but I read it in my head as LMAO, and I chuckled to myself.
Here we are.
Thank you for that.
So what do you want to talk about now?
Well, I want to know, how was the guys' trip? Because it looked so fun, and you were so happy.
It was good. It was fun. A guy's trip is probably not the way to say it. It was a father-son
Yeah, it was
trip.
Yeah, he was a hangover from the father-son trip. Sorry.
But it was my dad and then my business partner, best friend Alex's dad, and him. And so it was the four of us. And basically, background being, we're doing a deal in Chicago. And so we had meetings on Monday in Chicago. And there was like it was NFL opening weekend, so the Bears were playing, and then the Cubs were also playing the Yankees. And so we're going to do a double header, do Bears into the Cubs game, but only ended up doing the Bears game is by the time we got to the Cubs game, it was over. So
Yeah,
we tried.
Let me ask you about this. Double header is a baseball term that means back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Double header, but they're not usually on the same day.
A baseball doubleheader is on the same day, but they had the football game and the baseball game on the same day. So we wanted to do the football game and then do like the last 2 to 3 innings because the baseball game started an hour and a half after the football game, but the baseball game ended up ending really early and the football game went late. So it just didn't work out.
And did you guys have bases in your high school? Did you ever say, like, did you take her to third base?
Oh, of course. That's a term that exists in Canada.
And what was the definition of third base?
This is not a sex podcast.
No, it's not. I was wondering if that was your version of makeout.
No, makeout's first base.
Okay. Well, what was second base?
We're not hands.
Okay. Lightly tell us what third was. Well, what was the home run? Okay. Everyone knows. All right. Use your deductive reasoning. I just didn't know if we had the same bases because I kind of thought your bases could be a little bit more forward than our bases were.
Well, there were certain schools where, first base was a home run. That's how they acted.
First base was a home run. So they were making out or they weren't. And that's how they acted.
Well,
Cryptic.
right
I
over
don't
your head. Julie got it.
I didn't catch that one. I do have a question. Speaking of right over my head, just very quickly. Do you think I could be brunette? Because I think this happens to a lot of girls that get pregnant that are blonde and then their roots grow out so far that they are dark. They have darker hair than they've ever had before. And they start to ask themselves, looking in the mirror, like, should I just go brunette?
This is just one of those things that, like, I'm sure that there'll be like some trend or video one day where it's like, how many days for me to dye my hair brown and Harrison to realize it? And we'll be like 26 days in and I'll finally, I don't pay attention to that type of stuff.
So you don't care if it's like blonde or brunette?
Yeah, it looks nice. So let's just keep whatever makes you happy.
Golly, guys.
And hopefully isn't very expensive.
Getting my hair done in New York was always $800 plus for basic highlights. Getting my hair done in Texas is below $300. It is like living in Texas is fabulous. I know you don't care at all about the cost of hair, but it is important.
As long as I'm not paying them.
Yeah, you're not. I just when I checked out last time, I was like, dang. Okay, so let's discuss.
Actually, before we do this, do you want to hear a crazy stat?
Yes.
Did you know that OnlyFans creators made more than every single NBA player combined last year?
No.
Yeah.
How would I know that?
Well, they released, like, OnlyFans, I guess, like, released their financials, and creators were paid $5.3 billion last year, and the total NBA salaries for the whole league was $4.9 billion. Yeah, sex pays.
How many users are on OnlyFans? Do we know? Did they release that?
They gave like an amazing amount of information.
Okay.
So there's 2 times the amount of users on OnlyFans than there is Uber.
No.
Yeah. So there's like 303 million OnlyFans, they call them.
Yeah.
And there's like 150 million like monthly Uber users.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Because that's what's so wow. And you don't hear about OnlyFans very often. Do you know what I mean? Like, it kind of gets lost by the wayside. But I saw something about this, actually. The guy that started it, the 41-year-old who looks 30. That's why I clicked it, because they were like, OnlyFans founder. And I was like, is 28? And then I Googled it, and I was like, no, he's 41. But I thought it was nice that his dad gave him the money to start it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's a nice little investment.
I think as part of it, he paid himself $472 million this year.
No.
Yeah.
I think I read that he stepped down and now it's a girl running it, which is a good look. But like either way.
I'm pretty sure he got a $472 million bag this year.
Yeah. Here's the thing that gets me about the OnlyFans creators is it's a job. It's a real life job because you have to respond to all these people's comments. Like you can make more money on there if you do like the one-off messages.
Yes. Okay, I have a story for you on these messages.
Okay, what?
This is actually crazy. So this is a crazy thing about OnlyFans. So I was out for drinks with a guy, and he runs an OnlyFans agency. And I was like, what's an OnlyFans agency? And so what he does is he like manages these creators, and what they do is like they film all the content and then send it to him. And then he has a team in India that runs all of their accounts. So like all of these guys who like think they're messaging these like beautiful naked girls, they're like literally messaging like customer service representatives in India.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, so the girls actually take the photos though and like send it to their customer service rep in India, and like he gets to select from like a Google Drive, and he's like, I'll send this photo.
Yeah, exactly. So they take it, upload to the Drive, and then you got your guy in like Bangalore who's just like managing the accounts.
He's got some guy in his mom's basement, you know, deep in Arkansas down there messaging him who thinks he's like talking to some like hot porn star, but no,
Yeah.
just some guy over there.
Yeah.
He's laughing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Philippines as well. That's where we do our customer service is all done in the Philippines.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So
Not my OnlyFans, for our
right.
businesses.
Do you have any friends on OnlyFans, or no, just this guy that runs the agency? If you did have friends on OnlyFans, do you think they would tell you?
I think all that stuff comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Quick pause because this episode is sponsored by HelloFresh. And you guys, with HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. So you can skip the grocery store shopping, skip the grocery store hunt, and you guys can have a fun and easy way of cooking, which is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. So no more endless recipe searching or spending money on a whole jar of spices for only one pinch, because with HelloFresh, everything you need to make comes right to your door. It is so easy to do, and you get to choose from a variety of menu options to suit all your needs and tastes, from fit and wholesome to quick and easy or vegetarian to family friendly. There's something for everybody. Harrison and I we are obsessed with cooking at home right now, and I can't tell you how easy HelloFresh makes that. It's unbelievable. And it's great because you get to pick your meals. You don't have to go to the store, and they come right to your door. So, and even better, for free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com/freejustalex. One free breakfast item per box while subscriptions is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/freejustalex. Back at the Barstool days, and I've told you this, but I had a boxing, because I did the boxing match, I had a boxing OnlyFans, and like, it really is crazy. People pay like $7.99.
Yeah.
And I would just upload like boxing content on there, and then you go to cash out, and you're just like, whoa.
I hate to break it to you, but people ain't paying $5.3 billion a year for boxing content.
No. I understand that this whole entire thing is entirely sex driven. I'm just saying, I think my larger point is people forget they're subscribed, because sometimes the number can be so low.
Yeah.
And so they're not, if they're subscribed to a bunch of different people, they forget.
Yeah.
So it's like actually a crazy business model. I think that this conversation actually transitions well into what we were talking about last week, which is like the death of dating apps.
Yeah. I love when like you have a conversation with someone, and then like you go and you look into it to like try and put numbers behind it, and you say, all right, like, did we totally miss the mark on that? Or do the numbers reflect that? And so I actually like looked at some of the metrics on it, and like it's very supportive of people being over them.
Of what we said?
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean you looked at numbers?
So a few different things. So, and let me actually pull up some of the numbers so that way I don't misquote.
Okay.
Yeah, big numbers guy. So there used to be 290 million people globally using dating apps. Now that number is down to 240 million. So like there's less people actually using dating apps globally today than there were a few years ago. And then when you look at like the actual engagement of what's going on those apps, though the big companies, so the two main ones are Match.com, which owns a bunch of them like Tinder, and Bumble. and those stocks have just gotten hammered. So Match.com's like peak valuation was $30 billion. Now it's like $9 billion.
Whoa.
Yeah, and Bumble is down. The stock's down 90% since its IPO.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think what it is, I think the reason, because it's like a thing. People are sick of the dating apps. And
yeah,
I get it because I think the part of it that's broken is like women want this new Instagram, and it's made it this lifestyle flashy sensation. And so they have this like unrealistic expectation of what they want for guys. So they have this like profile in their head of a guy that they want, and they just swipe, 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 swipe. And I think on the other hand, I think guys have so many girls, I think they just kind of like, why settle down?
yeah. Like what I've seen from my guy friends that relates to this dynamic is like a really weird bifurcation of success that exists on these apps. So like some guys who like fit that profile, they get so much action, so many swipes, so many dates, and then that creates like a dynamic where they're dating multiple people, and like inherently it's very hard for them to settle down, and who knows when they ever will settle down because like there's just so many options versus guys on the other end of the spectrum that like don't necessarily maybe check a lot of those boxes, and it's strikeout city on the apps for them. And so I think that like creates a really tough imbalance. This is like my numbers episode.
Yeah, what numbers do you have?
So I was looking at how people meet, the percentages of how people meet.
Oh, okay.
And historically, like through the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, the most common way people met was through friends. Okay. So like just under 40% of couples were introduced through friends. Mm-hmm. That number is now in the single digits, like well below 10%. And online dating, which like wasn't a thing over that period, is now over 50%. Over 50% of couples have met via online dating. And so I feel like it's created this dynamic as well where like we've now overshot on dependence via meeting on app and undershot on meeting people through new ways.
Well, and I think that the problem is we've removed the repercussions. So if you meet somebody from your friend, you're like, I'm not going to be an asshole to them. I'm going to be nice to them. And I don't want Sally to hear, that I was like running through girls. Whereas if you meet them on an app and you have no mutual friends with them, then it's like guys and girls are just fine to be like one and done.
Yeah, totally. And I like that rings so true with Anna setting us up. Like I just knew going into it, like obviously I always wanted to be, very transparent as to where I was at in relationships, but like there's an added level of like of the mindset you go into a setup with.
Totally. And I think if you know that I'm going to leave and you're going to leave and we're both going to like report to Anna, if it's like, if I tell Anna, in 3 weeks, like, yeah, I was just one of 20 girls, that's not a good look.
Yeah.
But I think on the apps that's lost.
Totally.
So people aren't like as careful with it. Okay. So you were on the apps.
Yeah.
But did you date the same type of person on the apps? Because I've been thinking about types and like how, because when I was kind of reading about this dating app situation, girls were talking about their types. So types are formed in like 3 categories, and it was like warmth, which is like trustworthiness, the way they make you feel, the way they treat you, and then attractiveness, which is obviously just like if you're attracted to the person or not. And then there's status resources, which I think is like ambition, job, and that just like formulates your type. And I was thinking about you, and I was like, okay, you are actually like totally my type in terms of what I thought. Because some of the articles I were reading were saying like, it's good to branch out of your type. Maybe you have your type nailed. And then I thought about you in all of those categories, and I was like, no, he's exactly my type.
Interesting.
You're just like a well-formed version of exactly what I wanted. Good for me for landing with you.
Yeah, I think that my type changed over time. And I think that I, historically dated, I probably like overemphasized as to checking certain boxes, and I definitely dated like a very professional track, would be how I describe it. And I think what lacked in most of those situations was like that special feeling, And so, when I met you, while, your background, I'd say, was like different than, well, like very successful, different than a lot of the other types of people I date, but the feeling was just so different that's what allowed us to move so fast. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically, like, well, I think I'm actually like 1 degree off from what your paper type was. And paper type is like if you look at their resume, right? Because if we gave you 5 people's resume, I don't know that you'd pick mine.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like,
But if we gave you all 5 of those feelings, you'd pick mine.
yes, like I used to date, it was like very like, finance, VC,
Corporate. They're the
corporate.
corporate track.
Yeah, I dated very
The
corporate.
Ivy League corporate track, 100%. Yeah. That's totally not me. Yeah. You catch me in an Ivy League school. I mean, I think my brain would explode. But I think that's a really good point, is like not dating so much for the type, but dating for the feeling. But I do actually think in 80% of the categories I am probably your type.
For sure.
Just in that one little thing where you would probably say, what does she do? And somebody would be like, she's a banker. You'd be like, cool.
No, you're a lot more open.
Yeah.
Like
I'm curious.
This is so hard to describe.
Well, I'm more left-brained than people that are going to go into a corporate track field.
Yeah.
Like way more. Like when it actually studies like sides of the brains, I'm going to be more creative.
For sure.
Fast and loose, as opposed to like buttoned up, need to follow some corporate track and like hit some measures.
Yeah.
Which there is a place for those people, and I want them to be my doctors and I want them to be our lawyers. But I don't want to be them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think types are fascinating. And then I think there's toxic types too, right? Like you're attracted to.
There's such a Theo Von moment of you. I think types are fascinating. Nice little.
What?
I don't know. If you're watching, you know what I meant.
Oh, okay. But then there's those types that are like really, you're attracted to, like, your dad was never there, and then like you're attracted to a guy that's like that. I think those are always funny. Okay, so since we hate the dating apps, none of them are gonna sponsor us. You're doing a pinkies up like chug over there. I want to set up a girl this week. Can we wait? Before that, can we talk about Max?
Yeah.
Okay, so update on Max is he's been introduced to 3 of the girls, but he's going to OU Texas, which is the Red River rivalry, which he called Texas OU, which I was like insulted. It's OU Texas. And he was like, I need a date. And we had that girl because we checked her profile in Dallas, and it was banker by day, bar instructor by night. We like loved her. And so I DM'd them together. And anyways, she's going to be his date to OU Texas. So he's for sure going on one date. And then I think we're waiting on him to update us on what he's doing with the other 2 girls. So it's exciting. So like we'll have an update for Max, but like success. Cha-ching.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So now I want to set up a girl.
Let's hear about your eligible single friend.
Okay. So she is the former Miss Colorado, and she is as cute as the day is long, but she works in AI intelligence. She's her pilot's license. She's like super cool. I showed you a picture of her. Did you like think she was going to be this dynamic?
No.
Yeah, she like flies planes all the time. On her Insta story, she's always like, did a nighttime flight tonight. And I'm like, cool.
Okay.
She loves to surf and water ski, loves her family.
What's she looking for?
So she wants somebody who's ambitious, family oriented, and then is a really kind partner to their partner.
Sounds like the internet needs to get working.
Yeah, so she's quite a catch. I showed you a picture of her, and you were like, "Oh, she's cute. Let's set her up."
She was beautiful. And so, for people who are interested in meeting this woman, her name is
Savannah.
And how do they go about getting involved in this process?
Okay, so now the guys, because we got a whole slew of girls. Got a great little list of girls. Now we need the guys. So we're gonna create DM the Just Alex account, and then we'll do what we did for Max for Savannah. And we'll set up.
Very nice.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You guys know I'm a massive proponent of therapy, and it has gotten me through every phase of life, through the ups, through the downs, through my divorce, through job changes, through city moves. Therapy has always been there for me, especially because I believe you got to play offense in life instead of defense, and you never know what life's going to throw at you. And if you have your emotions tangled up, if there's something you want to talk through, work through, BetterHelp gives you a licensed therapist, and it seriously makes navigating the waters of life so much calmer. And you get to reconnect with your childlike self. So if there's something you want to learn as an adult, signing up for therapy can help you release your inner child. So if you guys are thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/justalexpod today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/justalexpod. So I'm excited about her. Do you know how I met her?
I'd love to hear.
I was at a wedding in Vail, and we were at the top of the mountain, and these two, like, adorable girls were also up there, and I can't remember how we started talking to them, but they were so dang cute that I followed them both on Instagram, and I just, like, kept in touch with them over the years. And I was like, are you Miss Colorado? And then when I moved to Austin, she was DMing me. And so it's the power of social media kept us in complete and total contact.
Wow.
Yeah. And so now here we are setting her up. But I've just, like, loved watching, like, you know those people that you don't really know, who I've maybe seen her in person twice, right? But, like, I was so happy when she won Miss Colorado. And, like, I just remember seeing all these things that, like, when she got her pilot's license, like, all these things, I'm just like, what a badass.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so I don't know her super well. I will get coffee with her, though, after this baby's born. Yeah, so I'm excited to set Savannah up.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's take a left U-turn into...
Not with the baby in the car.
Not with the baby in the car.
Bad joke.
We have to go get the car seat put in. But anyways, don't take my train of thought away from me when I'm going down it, because I can't get back on it. Okay, so I want to talk to you about this Disney thing. This terms and conditions, because I signed up. I've been watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and I had to sign up for Hulu because we didn't have a Hulu account. Now we do have a Hulu account, but as I checked the terms and conditions box, now I'm reading this story about Disney. It's freaking me out.
All right, let me hear it.
You don't know this one?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. So basically, when you sign up for Disney's terms and conditions on Disney Plus, you're signing your life away to the tune of this guy and his wife go eat at a Disney property restaurant somewhere. And basically, she's got a nut allergy. She's like a couple allergies. And she keeps confirming with the waiter, like, is what I'm ordering nut-free, allergen-free? And the waiter's like, yes, yes, yes. You know, she triple confirms. She eats it. An hour later, she ends up dying. So
Holy.
the husband goes to sue Disney for negligence. Disney pulls up that 4 years prior, he signed the waiver and signed up for Disney Plus to, like, watch some TV show. And basically in their terms and conditions, it says, you know, should some freak accident, I'm going to put in layman's terms, should some freak accident like that ever happen, it's just down to the civilian to solve it. It's not our problem.
Yeah,
so the case can't even enter the courts.
That's absolutely insane. And is this something, like, when did this is this new, or, like, when did this happen?
It's like a couple weeks old.
And is this on people's radars?
Yeah, it's on people's radar. I mean, I saw a couple articles about it. But here's the thing: if you're Disney, it's just like, step up to the plate.
And they haven't.
No, not yet.
Yeah, it's a tragic story. It is crazy that
Terrible.
It is terrible that, like, but when you sign up for these terms and conditions, like, we really have no idea what we're signing up for, and, like, to actually see it play out like that is wild. I am surprised that, like, in this day and age of, like, companies caving to social pressure, like, if there is public eyes on this, that they haven't stepped up to the plate, especially in something like that's so tragic, right? Like, it's not like, you know, this is as severe as it gets. So that's also pretty surprising to me. But I don't really have anything to say beyond that.
Yeah, like I think it's very sad. It's funny because so Harrison and I are doing a power of attorney, because when you go to the hospital, like, we're not married. So a lot of people were like, make sure to do the power of attorney thing, because he's not your legal husband. So, like, if something happened to me, he has to be able to, like, make decisions over my body. And he, like, brought me the power of attorney today that he had ChatGPT write. And he's like, how's it look? And I was like, you know, you're not scamming me, right? So I'm not, like, worried about the document you're giving me. But I did, like, glaze over it. And I was like, I don't know, the moment the baby's born, it ends. So, like, if I'm passed out and they're still able to deliver your power of attorney, and it's just like, there's little things in there where it's like, you got to extend that till I leave the hospital. There's, like, little things in these documents that it's just like, should something happen, they're so important.
So what I did with that is I had ChatGPT do it, and then I I showed you the prompt that I put in, so you knew there was nothing like nefarious going on. And then once you signed off on it, I sent it to my lawyer, and I told him, I was like, hey, I ChatGPT this because we need a power of attorney. She looked at it like, is this like directionally right? And are you good with this? So we're actually waiting on if our lawyer says we can do that or not.
All right. So last week you did how dentists basically scam people, and so many DMs about how Disney's scamming people.
How dentists. Yeah.
Oh, Disney and dentists. Sorry. So we got so many DMs about how dentists are scamming people. There was this girl talking today about how she's like, I haven't gone to the dentist in 16 years, and I'm like, well, you do have to go to one. You do have to attend. Well, you don't have to go to one. Actually, she can do her thing. But I was watching this video about. Have you ever seen the homeless cup that's clear?
The homeless cup?
A homeless cup that's clear. So you know how homeless people sit outside and they ask for money, and sometimes they have their cup sitting in front of them.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the cup will be clear.
Yeah.
So you don't really see it, and they set it out far enough away from them that you could trip over it. So they do this in high traffic areas, and then people walk by and they'll hit the cup over.
Okay.
Most of the time, what happens on a least case scenario is you end up giving them money if you have any, because you're like, oh my gosh, I knocked your cup over, sorry. But in a bad scenario, if you pick the cup up and you keep walking, then the guy starts yelling at you, and like this whole altercation starts happening, and then he's like, you should pay me money, you stole my money. Like sometimes they'll accuse you of stealing the money, but the whole thing boils down to these clear cups. The video I watched of it was in Paris, and people were commenting like, these guys are everywhere.
Yeah, I've never seen that play out in real life. I do think that there needs to be a better way to get homeless people money.
Right.
And it sounds like a really great, charitable cause that someone should
Like a
should do.
nonprofit app.
A nonprofit. But I'm enough to say about, nonprofits are another conversation that we can get into another time.
One thing that we can get into right now is I find myself tipping so much more on Venmo than I would if I had cash.
What do you mean? When are you tipping on Venmo?
Well, so like today, the valet guy, he had his Venmo card out there. If I had, a bunch of ones and some fives in my purse, I would have given him 3 to 4 ones, maybe, the valet guy at the hospital. But when I Venmo him, I'm always a 5 or a 10er, which is way more than I would probably tip in cash. So I'm tipping way more on Venmo than I ever would be if I had physical money. Are you not? Like, I'll tip $2 if there's a bellman and I have ones. But if I'm Venmoing the bellman, it's always a 5. Are you Venmoing $2?
No.
So what are you Venmoing?
I'm
Venmoing way more than I would be tipping with
Yeah.
physical cash.
If I'm like pulling out the Venmo, it's
You're going 10-20. Yeah, that's way more than you would tip if you had cash, right? Okay, I guess you're just a bigger tipper than I am. Oh gosh, how did I just become the asshole? What are you giving a valet guy if he pulls your car around?
$20.
What? Oh, what are you giving the guy that checks your bags on the outside of American Airlines? On the outside.
That one is a new one to me.
Well, they always say tips are appreciated. That's a heavy tipping place. That's like a $1, $2 per bag situation.
I was gonna say 5 per bag.
You're a big tipper. You got a heavy hand.
I don't think so.
What are you tipping the guy that takes your bags, the bellman that takes them up to the room?
I feel like what I'm gonna say here is so that I don't do.
That's the biggest tip. That's the biggest
No,
tip.
I take my bags.
You don't, Harrison. I will defend you here. We could have an obscene amount of bags, and he's like, "We got them."
Like I like packing them on the things.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Yeah, like my general rule of thumbs for this stuff is because coffee's the big one, right?
That they well, yeah.
And that is I'm a flat $1 per coffee. So if I go get, and no matter the type of coffee, it's a black coffee, it's fancy coffee, it's always $1 per. So like when we go together, always a 2 spot, except at the local place, and then I bump it up a little bit.
Yeah, because you need them to know.
That's like if I don't know them. What are other big tipping things?
Am I a stingy tipper? I guess. Well, there's tipping on Uber.
No one tips on Uber. Tipping on Uber would be a crazy move, unless there's like a one-off for it. But tipping.
No, I tip on Uber.
No, really?
I tip on every single Uber because it's the next screen. Every time you get off the Uber app, if you want to go back on and you want to select a new Uber, The screen's there to tip your old driver. I do it every time. The system has gaslit me into thinking I should if it gives me the option for some reason, I think I should be tipping them.
Because it comes up so late, I forget that ride, and I never do it. Unless like I preemptively, like after the game, they're waiting and I'll tell them what I'm going to tip them if they wait.
There are instances where you're like, yeah, if you'll please just like give me 5 more minutes, I'll tip you afterwards.
Yeah.
But no, I thought that I just auto tipped on it. Do you tip the Uber Eats people?
Yes. I undertip that.
Yeah, well, I don't know, undertipping.
I get so triggered with all those fees that I undertip on Uber Eats.
Okay, so the time, because we were talking about scams.
Oh yeah, what? Tell me about when you got scammed.
So I was living in New York and in the West Village, right? And I'm walking home one day, and this girl comes up to me. She's like hysterically crying, and she lifts up her sunglasses, and she's like, got a black eye right here. And she's like, I just need some help. Like I got beat up last night. Like I spent the night in the shelter, and I need like a Visa gift card so I can get home to my family. And I also am like 2 months pregnant. And I just like bought it. I was like, okay, come on. So we just like went into a CVS, and I got her one of those. And I don't know why she was so specific. Well, I know why. She was so specifically asking for a Visa gift card. So I got her the Visa gift card. And then I just like tucked and rolled, and I was like, I just did like good deed, Alex. All she needed, like this girl just needed like a spin of good luck. 1 week later, I'm walking home. This girl comes up to me. She's crying. She pulls up her thing. She's got the black eye. And she's like, I just need some help. I was beat up last night. And I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, you did this to me last week. And she just looked at me and was like, and turned around and just walked off.
No way.
Yes. Did you ever see her? Oh, I saw this same girl 5-6 times. Yeah, on 6th Avenue.
Holy.
Down in the West Village. Same girl. Yeah. She'd be outside my apartment complex. She'd just get people. She probably, I mean, I don't know what she was making in Visa gift cards.
How much did you give her?
50.
It's good.
I was like, yeah, just get home with this. Like, please take care of yourself. I'll never forgive myself if I don't help you. Like the black eye. I'm like, are you giving yourself a black eye every week?
Do you think it was makeup?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that. It looked like a real black eye. But I would see the same girl running the same deal.
I'm trying to think if I've ever been scammed. I'm sure, but I'll think about it.
I've been pickpocketed. I had my watch whenever I was in Barcelona studying abroad. I was on one of those very long escalators. Like they're super long from the subway up. And I had a very nice watch, and I had it in the cup holder of my backpack, and I had my backpack on. And I remember we're like 25% up the escalator, and I feel like part of my backpack dipped down, and I like swat the side, and I turn around, and this guy just has his hand stuck in my cup holder. And I was like, are you trying to get my watch? And he was just like, And I was like, asshole. And I just turned back around, and we could just stand there the rest of the way back up the escalator.
Did he get it?
No, he did not get it. But I just remember I was just like, well, now we just have to stand here.
Yeah, I feel like they're much better at pickpocketing in Europe than they are in the U.S.
Well, what my mom told me before I went abroad was look out for, the gypsies will surround you, and they'll start making humming noises. This happened to my mom when she was in Paris. And they'll be like, And it happened to me one time. I knew exactly what was happening. And I just like tucked and rolled out. They'll surround you, and they'll start buzzing and humming. So you get distracted, and you're just kind of like looking at them all. But while you're looking at them all, guess what they're doing? They just took your wallet. And then they just tuck and roll out. And so you're like, wait, what? That was weird. And then you just keep walking.
What else do you want to talk about today?
Well, let's do our work updates.
Okay.
What's yours? Can you tell us what you're doing in Chicago or no?
No.
I saw a lot of people reached out to you about the laundry detergent.
Yeah, laundry detergent. That's going. A lot of emails. So we're going to send some samples out on that. And it's busy time. It's a busy time.
Yeah, Harrison sits in that OBGYN office and just hammers away on the laptop.
Most of that's just fantasy football updates.
No, and Twitter. I look over and I see. Okay, so I asked a good question on fantasy football. If you had Christian McCaffrey's backup.
You did.
I thought I was really proud of myself because Christian McCaffrey wasn't playing, but the backup did really well. 150 yards.
147.
147. I thought whoever had him on their fantasy team was probably in business, and Harrison said, I had him. And I thought, hell yeah. So my work update is your guy Ian, who hosts the Locked In with Ian Big podcast, which is basically people that were incarcerated, and it's their comeback arc, which I love. He used to do 3 episodes a week. Now he's doing 5 episodes a week. And I think he's a prime example of like when something works, pour kerosene on the fire. Because these episodes and these stories are fascinating.
Yeah, I love you, and Locked In is awesome. Like if y'all haven't checked it out, it is it's really well done, really entertaining stuff.
Though the clips, like watching, if you need a TikTok rabbit hole to go down, go to Ian Bigg's TikTok and just watch his clips.
Yeah.
Because they're like mini stories within themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good. That's our work update there. And can we not lose you? Can you just hang on to the end of the episode? You think he loves to pull out his phone? So you're getting a little antsy over there. We're almost done. We did the work update, which is always the end. Okay, and then I think that I want to add this new segment that I'm just going to throw right now, and it's always going to be our end cap, and it's recipe of the week, meal of the week. And Harrison's going to say cottage cheese pizza.
Cottage cheese pizza is the meal of the week. It is so good. It tastes as close to the real thing as you can make it while it's still being super healthy.
So the problem is I get a lot of DMs about this cottage cheese pizza and the cheesy bread situation. It's you get the, what is that? What size cottage cheese is that? Not the massive tub, but the mid-sized tub.
The quart.
The quart. You take 2 cups out of it, and then you add 2 eggs. Okay? You mix it together, add salt, pepper, everything, bagel seasoning, whatever you want. You pour it over the baking sheet. Then you put it in the oven at 400 degrees for 40 minutes. Okay? That's how you make the cheesy bread. That's done. You can eat that if you want. If you're making pizza, still put it in there for 35 minutes, pull it at 35 minutes, put the marinara sauce on it, sprinkle it with cheese, put the pepperonis on it, put it back in for 10 more minutes because the marinara sauce kind of makes it a little moist, flimsy, so you need to crisp that a little bit more. And that's how you make the cottage cheese pizza, and
I love it.
It's as close to the real deal as possible.
Like it's healthy pizza, and so it's obviously not normal pizza, but for healthy pizza, it's as good as I've ever had.
Yeah, because it's like pizza on top of cheesy bread because the cottage cheese bread alone tastes like cheesy bread.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Okay, so next week, you guys, is the All the Feels baby episode because we're having our baby next week. And then from there, hopefully Mama just rolls over down here to the podcast studio and does a podcast. I'll be looking like all hell broke loose, but nonetheless, we'll give you an update. Some things we want to do is like read our hospital bill to you, tell you what happened that was unexpected, like really give you guys the inside track to birth. So stay tuned for all of that. And we love you guys.
Thank you for listening.
Okay, guys, thanks for listening to another episode of Just Alex, powered by Just Media House. If you enjoyed the show, which I think you did because you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. All of those things are so important. Stay connected on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook at Just Alex Pod. Post-production by Creative Evolution Studios. Theme song to the Just Alex Pod by Gideon Shawkin and Denisha. I'm Just Alex, you're just you. Let's keep doing this thing. New episodes every Thursday.